Okay. How's the stream sound to everyone? Who has it up, I guess.
Wait, do you want to move your camera this way? Because, like, you can see me in your background. Like that.
It sounds really good.
Good, good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds fine to me.
You're going to want your character. I should print out my notes so I don't have to keep switching between stuff.
Well, we have a printer, so.
If anyone's watching right now, I don't know, I'm not paying attention, but if anyone's watching, just bear with us a second.
If anyone is watching, make yourself known in the chat.
We've got 7 viewers. How many of them are...
7 viewers. Wow, that's
I'm
surprising.
on it. At least one.
1, 2, 3.
Not me.
Cool.
Okay, so we have 4 people.
I'm on as well,
Two.
so 5. So there's...
2 people. I like
Are
it.
they just like the Twitch moderators saying if we're gonna do something bad?
Oh yeah. I love those guys.
What do? They just make sure you're not doing anything illegal?
Yeah, they'll ban you and stuff if you
Yeah.
do stuff that's against their. And Portia is.
In that case, we really love them. They're really great.
That's true.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Keep Twitch good.
Protect.
One of them left. Looks like we scared him off.
Whoa. Are you?
It seems like your sound alerts browser source is offline. Make sure you've implemented the source correctly in OBS or refresh the source.
I think that was a notification when you had your sound turned off.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, I heard my voice.
Yeah, that was from someone's stream.
Yeah, I think that was my phone.
Okay, we are ready to start. Thank you everyone who is either watching this or will watch it in the future for joining us this week on Pincast. This week we're going to be starting out doing a quick refresher of our first session because we missed. I got a text from someone who's watching it, says they can't see anything. Pause a second.
Oh, what? Okay. I can see just
You can
fine
see it.
on my-
Everyone who's on can see it?
Mm-hmm.
We need an
My
extra
sister
device.
is currently watching, and she can see us.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
I think it might
she
just be
can't
him.
see me because I don't have a webcam today, so I will just be the mysterious
Oh.
voice in your head.
Wait a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Uh-oh.
You don't have 12 thorns in there.
That makes sense.
Makes you even more nervous.
Goodbye.
I'm the voice of the team.
Group.
I'm that big one.
Group is
Yeah.
gone, and 12 Thorns will be here shortly.
Is that a threat or? You'll
How
have
do
to see behind the
bathroom
scenes.
breaks work?
If you have to go to the bathroom, you can go to the bathroom.
I
And
don't
if
have
something
to go, but
important happens, then I will play your character for you.
that could be fun actually to
Cool.
see that.
Now 12 Thorns get the big box because I forgot about him.
Oh, yeah.
You can just put them on the other
Yeah,
side
there
over
you go.
there and then put the picture of us in the middle.
Nah, too late. We're good.
12
I'll fix
thorns
it
isn't on
later.
the Picture,
I'll fix it
poor
later.
guy.
We get to see the kitty cat.
Okay.
It's a good image to have up for everyone viewing. Okay.
Wait, they can see all of us?
Yeah, everyone can see everyone right now. Everyone who's on Twitch. Okay, let's start over for everyone who's actually watching us. We're getting used to the streaming thing, so. Okay. Once again, thanks for joining us. Hopefully everything's working now. Everyone can hopefully see us without a problem and hear us without a problem. Like I was saying before, we're going to do a quick recap of what happened the first session because the stream was broken. Honestly, I was broken, I guess, and accidentally streamed it without recording it. So none of you got to see it. So we'll do a quick recap, and do some fun intros for all the characters and all the players, so you guys can watch those.
Are you recording them?
I am. Yes. And yeah, we've already set that up, so we'll get started with that. We're starting with 12 Thorns. He's going to be introducing kind of how we do our introductions. We're probably going to do it every single week too, so go ahead.
Okay, I am Michael Honey. I'm playing the character 12 Thorns, the forgetful Tabaxi Warlock. If any of you have seen the much more popular podcast Dungeons and Daddies, they open each episode with all the players giving a fact about their character, and I figured that we might as well try and leech off some of their popularity and take it for ourselves, so we're going to be doing the same thing. But if you're getting mad at us for stealing their idea, then get mad at Wyatt. He's the one that approved this idea.
Yes.
So, my fact for this week is 12 Thorns. He has kept a journal for as long as he can remember, and he just, at the end of each day, he writes down what happened during the day, any major events, any people he met. But when he started it, he couldn't remember how to read or write, so he just drew pictures, and he tried to make them representative of what happened throughout the day, but he's really not very good at art. So it's kind of just some stick figures doing whatever you can imagine them doing. Even he's not exactly sure what he drew, but that is my fact for the week.
For everyone watching, I am Boo Phillips. The fun fact about my guy, super simple, because he's a super simple guy. His pinky claws are twice. Oh, I'm sorry. I play Koo. He is a polar bear kid. His pinky claws are twice as long as the rest of his claws.
Alright, my name is Benjamin Amundsen, and I will be playing the Goliath Paladin Braylor the Wall. My fact about him, he was raised in Ranger Corps away from his clan, and so he was never with his clan long enough to learn Goliath from them, but there was a Centaur Ranger who regularly talked with them, and he is the one who taught Braylor his native language.
I love it. My turn. Hello, how's it going? The name is Alec Jordan, and I play Teagle. Yes, it's just Teagle. You're welcome. So the fun fact about Teagle is that he is a rock gnome, and usually these rock gnomes are kind of vivid in a lot of different colors and everything, as most people should know. But he was naturally born with extremely dark hair, and because he comes from a very proud family, he was actually very embarrassed about this, so he secretly goes and dyes his hair bright pink just to feel like he fits in.
And that's great. I am Amy Urmson, and I will be playing a character named Portia Harris. She is an Earth Genasi, and so, you know, kind of, if you don't know what that looks like, she kind of is a like just kind of humanish, but has different colored features like gray skin and pink iridescent hair. Fun fact about Portia is that she just loves potatoes. Any kind of form, any kind of, you know, she gets excited about it because she comes from a place where, we'll when we get to that, we'll talk about where she's from and everything, but she comes from a place where there's not really any potatoes, so she gets excited about that, which is random.
Okay, thanks guys.
That's
So now,
making mashed potatoes every night.
yeah, just keep making mashed potatoes,
Yeah.
French fries, throw everything you can do in there just to.
She's just sick of it.
There's too many
man.
forms.
Yeah. All the characters are great. We're gonna have a great time. Sadly, everyone missed the first session. It was wonderful. We all had a great time with it. Just a quick recap on it. Basically, all the players found themselves in torn away from their homes by a mysterious woman that they all had met during an individual hooks that we all did together. They all ended up in the northern parts of Wildmount, and the lady talked to him about sickness that was going around down there that they had to go and solve. So they made their way to Palebank Village, ran into an old woman who got a ride to a cemetery from Braylor, just got held in his arms, who was at the moment actually currently carrying Teagle as well on his shoulders. They followed her to a cemetery where all the townspeople were gathered. And yeah, all the townsfolk were all gathered there, no problem, until the party showed up. Then there was a problem. It got a little bit rambunctious in the back. There was some mishaps with a coin that the old lady gave to Baylor, some arguments, some attempted thievery, and it got a little loud and kind of interrupted a funeral, which is a pretty intense service. Got a lot of shrewd looks from all of the townsfolk, and eventually got a shout out from Elro, who is the town master, calling out the party on their loud speech to try to get them to quiet down so they can finish up the funeral. After the funeral, they went and talked to Elro. Elro explained that the man they were burying was Ergon. He was the first one they knew was afflicted with this weird curse, and he got blue veins running through his body. He started moving slowly, and eventually, in the end, they had to bury him as a ice sculpture. After which, Elro asked if they can start looking around because he's worried other people can get it. So Braylor, who is a paladin, used his senses to be able to find out. He used detect poisons, right?
Detect poison and disease.
Yeah, detect poison and disease to find out if there was anything else. He spotted a family of 4, 2 parents, 2 daughters, and called them out. Elro asked to keep it quiet, but he thought he might be able to help. Valiantly thought he might be able to help them and get rid of the disease early. So he talked to them. He told them they were sick and tried to heal them to no avail, and they ended up leaving without being convinced that everything will be fine. Depressed and expecting death soon, they wandered away. Elro once again chastised the group for causing trouble in his town, even though they just barely arrived. He spoke primarily to Portia, because Portia is actually a citizen of Palebank Village, and asked her to have the group maybe settle down a little bit so they can help a little bit more in the town instead of hurting. And eventually asked them to go and speak to some people around town to try to figure out what's going on. As payment, he offered to maybe cure some of the wounds that they've caused the town already. Forgive a little bit of the sins, he said, that way they've played against the town. So we left the group split already, surprisingly early in the campaign.
Yeah.
We had Teagle wander off looking for a tavern. Coog went off to Ergon's cabin to look for some clues, try to figure out what's going on, get a head start. And then Portia, Braylor, and 12 Thorns all headed off to Portia's uncle's house to see how he's doing. They found out when they entered that he was starting to show signs of having this sickness spread through him as well. That's how far we got in our last session. Today, we're going to start up the night. We'll start with Teagle, actually, and your tavern. So it's not really that difficult for you to find a tavern. A lot of the townsfolk will happily point you to the Jolly Dwarf. They all visit it daily. And check to see if he's still saying stuff or not. And yeah, so they can point you to it without a problem. You make your way there. It's maybe like a 5-10 minute walk from the graveyard. As you approach the inn, a really not jolly dwarf is currently escorting a homeless looking man out the front door He throws him off into the dirt and yells out at him, You're looking for charity? Go back to the charity shelter, please. Don't come looking around here." And he walks back in, the homeless man wandering off down the street.
Fantastic. How far away is this homeless man?
He's probably not that far. He probably might have looked at you, but then just started wandering off. He's 5-10 feet away. That's all.
Okay. I think Teagle might like whistle at him, not like a wolf whistle. Don't
Okay.
worry about it.
Got it.
It's like a regular whistle, and probably just flick him a gold piece.
Oh,
and
wow.
then head into the tavern.
Yeah, he's super grateful. As in, he grabs the gold piece and takes off running. That's how he shows gratitude. And yeah.
Perfect.
Did we explain the
Geez, I just
other
I just
piece that
encourage
we had?
drug habit.
No.
Hey.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, as you go into the tavern, you start looking around. The dwarf's back behind the bar. He's serving a couple patrons. Everyone in there. There isn't many people. You guys are probably getting kind of close to afternoon. Not quite evening when people will be showing up. Everyone is in there, looks pretty somber, and they're kind of sulking after the funeral. They're just drinking a little bit in small groups. No one's really talking. No one's really doing anything. And yeah, you're free to do as you please. Well, you probably see one group who's probably not as somber as the rest. They're all drinking, having a slightly good time. They're probably trying to keep a little bit quiet just out of respect for everyone else, but they definitely don't seem as annoyed. But
All right. Good for them. How far away are they from, like, the main tavern, Unjolly Dwarf guy?
the group, they'd probably be sitting in a back table as far as they could get from everyone else, just because they don't want to interrupt their sulking.
All right. Good. Could I think Teagle will probably kind of come close to them enough to try and hear what they're saying, but kind of keep passing on to head toward Mr. Unjolly over there.
Okay. You're gonna do a swerve like that. It's gonna be a fairly odd swerve. So you probably got like the tavern entrance, and then you have right after the entrance is where the bar is. They're like sitting back in the back far corner, so you can like swerve around the entire exterior of the bar, and you could probably hear what they're saying if you want to.
Might as well.
Okay.
Teagle's little. He likes to.
Yeah. So yeah, as you approach, you just hear some light laughter. They're kind of joking around, talking about time at sea. You gather they're a group of sailors. The man in the middle is probably their captain, and then everyone else around him is just probably some of the main crew. They're just drinking, having a good time while they're probably at port here in Palebank.
Perfect. That's all I needed to know. All right. So, can I approach Mr. Unjolly Dwarf at the main tavern
Yeah,
area,
definitely.
bar, whatever you want to call it?
You approach.
Find any hot drinks there?
Nah, he's definitely lived past his prime by now. Big
Yeah.
old 403-year-old guy that
So you'd approach. He'd see you coming, and he'd wait for you to get a little bit closer. I don't know if you'd address him before you get to the bar or not. If you don't, he'd wait until you get like to the bar, and then he'd kind of jokingly know that he sees you. He'd like kind of lean over the bar and kind of look down on you like you're hidden behind the bar a little bit, even though you know he can probably see you. And he's like, ain't seen you around here. How can I help you out?
Well, I'm new in town, looking for a specific disease, is what I heard. Do you have anything about that?
Oh, I ain't heard nothing more than poor Ergon's funeral. Nothing's been going on around here. That's all I know about it.
Would Teagle know or have noticed that, like, the people that are infected kind of look bluish and or kind of sluggish?
I think Elro would have described it a bit about Ergon's symptoms. So yeah, you'd be able to tell if you saw the blue veins and stuff. You guys all have a pretty good understanding of what the disease does now, just from Elro's description.
Okay. Then Teagle's gonna say, have you seen anyone come in here with a blue hue to them, with a slowish nature?
Well, most people around here are pretty slow, but I ain't seen nothing out of the ordinary.
Alright. Give me one of your strongest.
Okay. And he gets behind the bar and serves you up a tall glass of ale. I ain't got nothing more than this, but it'll really put some hair on your chest. And hands it to you. Slams it down on the table. A little bit of the ale flying out of the top of it. And yeah. And then if you don't ask him anything else, you just walk on down the bar to some other patrons.
Alright, well, Teagle's just gonna start sipping out his ale and paying attention to the room.
Okay, sounds good. Coog, you are currently wandering off towards Ergon's cabin. Last time you tried speaking to a lot of the townsfolk. No one on Wild Mountain has ever seen Bearkin before, so they are all very cold towards you or extremely curious. But they always tend to keep a distance. Eventually, you found a young boy that you were able to pay a gold coin to point you in the direction of Ergon's cabin. Yeah, that one's probably good 30-minute walk from town to get to where Ergon is. It's a ways out there. When you approach, you see the cabin. It's a small one-story cabin, dark on the inside. There isn't really much light pouring in. With it getting, it's more in the afternoon, so it's well lit from just the sunlight. And you watch around, and you notice that there is one guard standing out, a woman standing at the front door with a spear, dressed in just some chain armor. Doesn't look super high quality either. Just seems like one of the guards around town that you've been seeing.
That's all I'm seeing so far.
Yeah, there's not much outside of Ergon's cabin.
Okay, I'm just going to. I'd like to do investigation check just to make sure I can't do anything else, or can't see anything else that is important around the cabin. Just focus on the cabin and like another in the vicinity of it as well.
Or on the outside?
Can I just? Cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually have you make a nature check for the outside of the cabin.
Okay. I have a nature +1 roll.
Okay, did you roll that in roll 20?
I did, but it did not work for some reason.
Oh, okay.
I see why. I got 18.
18. Okay, yeah. So the first thing that happens as you approach, the guard will get pretty nervous. You're getting a little bit close to the camp, big polar bear, and she'll look at you and say, "What are you doing here?" Just like she
like she's nervous and she says, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, so you get a feeling like as you're watching her, as you're approaching, before she spots you, you kind of get a feel where she would be a little bit more aggressive when she talks to someone about approaching, but she definitely seems really surprised and off-put by you, so it's coming out as less intimidating and more kind of like, what is going on here?
What in the world? Cool.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna kind of raise hands, like, "Hey, it's cool, mean no harm here," and then ask like, "Why are people guarding a recently dead person's cabin?"
Well, Elro put me here. He was saying that some adventurers going to be coming along to look around. check to see if they can find any clues about some kind of disease that Ergon had. I don't know much about it, but that's all he told me to do. So, unless you're one of those adventurers, which, by the looks of you, I might venture a guess you are, I'll need you to leave.
Tell her no.
What's? Does he have something against adventurers? I'm here
Oh.
to just see. I'm here to see my friend.
No, yeah, she got the instructions to only let the adventurers through. No one else would have been allowed.
Only let the adventurers through.
Oh,
Did I do that?
opposite.
I think I might have said it wrong.
What was the continuing?
So she didn't get names. She just said that someone came to send word to her that some adventurers that Elro had hired in a way were coming to look around.
The guy whose funeral we just
Oh.
had, whose cabin I'm in now.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Ergon is the cabin. Elro, he's the town master that you guys spoke to. He was the officiate at the funeral, all that. So that's, the town master told her to stand guard and make sure that no one gets there except for adventurers.
Except for adventurers. Okay. Then, because I'm one of those adventurers, I'm going to say yes. I am one of those people. A few of my companions went one way. Another one of my companions, loves the drink, so he's at your tavern right now. I just wanted to come and see if I could figure anything out.
Okay, so she looked a little bit hesitant and maybe questioning. Say, okay, feel free to look around then, but I am keeping an eye on you. And she kind of backs away a tiny bit, but she does keep watching you as you walk around the cabin. With an 18 nature check, walking around the cabin, you can notice there's a lot of footprints. Most of them seem in the vicinity of the cabin, like they're wandering around looking for stuff around the cabin. But you do see one set of footprints that seems to wander off into the woods a couple times. And then there's one that it leads off into the woods, and you lose it eventually as it goes off, unless you were to keep following it, of course. But just looking out into the woods, it just keeps going. So.
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna make a little mark on the ground next to those footprints.
Okay.
And I'm also I want to go inside and check out inside the cabin, see if there's anything I can find.
Okay. So yeah, you can walk into the cabin. Make a investigation check.
Okay. I gotta check my investigation with that. I'm
Okay.
pretty sure. +1. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Let's see what you get.
20. Not a natural, but I got a 20.
An unnatural 20.
Nice.
Unnatural.
Okay. Yeah, so you walk into the cabin. The first thing you notice is that it is in complete disarray. Someone's been in there tearing things apart. Shelves are flipped over, beds are broken, chairs smashed. Papers are just everywhere in the room. Nothing is where it's supposed to be. So as you start looking around with a 20, you start digging through some of the papers, just in case you see anything. You would find a receipt for a shop called Pelk's Curiosities. It's just a place in town that people go to shop some random stuff. Not many people visit it, so you wouldn't really know too much from just walking around. You probably might have spotted it on your way to Ergon's, but just not taking notice. And the receipt just lists a couple of items that were sold there, like some jeweled daggers, some potions, scrolls, stuff like that Ergon would have found in Easel Cross in his explorations. Other than that, you wouldn't find too much lying around. It seems like it's been pretty ransacked, and if there was anything valuable, it was taken.
What was that store, the receipt for?
Pelk's Curiosities.
Elks?
Yep. Pelcs. Pelk's.
Found a receipt for there,
Okay.
and that's kind of it. Just
Yeah.
found that.
Everything's pretty busted up. You might find some pieces of like adventuring gear and stuff from Ergon. It's all made for a dwarf, not gonna really fit a bear. So you might just toss that aside or guard it to sell to someone or give to someone at a later date. But at the moment, that's basically all that you find. Just doing a quick glance just around the entire room. Real quick, while you are continuing to look around, we will jump over to the rest of the party. Braylor, 12 Thorns, and Portia. You guys are in Portia's uncle's house. His name is Heinrich Harris, and you have now just discovered that he is showing signs of this strange sickness going around. His hands are starting to get the just visual blue veins starting to inch up his forearms. So I believe that, Braylor, you made a medicine check last time, and we decided that he's not really showing too much of the symptoms, so you would assume that he's just starting to feel the effects of the disease.
Yep.
Yeah, and then the last thing he did was invite you guys to dinner. He was going to serve up some more plates because he was only expecting Portia.
Yeah, so I'm in the house and I'm going and helping my uncle lower the things from the cupboards and bringing them to the dining room. I'm obviously very, very sad. I know you can't see me. I'm so sad. He's the only family that I have, and so my eyes are just filled with tears, and I don't really know what to do with all these emotions because I've never had to show any emotions or anything like that. And so I continue and ask him if he was in contact with any of is Ergon?
Ergon, yeah.
Ergon's stuff.
Like if Ergon...
Before Portia goes away, I'm gonna kind of like Braylor. He's about 8 feet tall, so he's already like crouched in this house.
Yeah.
Made for like human-sized people, but he's gonna just crouch down even more and get to Portia's level, and be like, "You have to be careful. We do not know how this sickness will spread."
Oh, right. He's right.
That is
So-
Be
true.
wary about that. I know he is your family.
Thank you, Braylor. I'll keep that in mind. I'm just very sad, and I can't think straightly right now. I'm very nervous about what's going on. We'll make sure everything is clean and ready to go, and we won't get sick.
Braylor's gonna pull out the special coin that he got from this last the last week that we did this, and he's going to hand it to Portia, and he's gonna say, "Keep this on your person. If we can trust our little gnome friend, then this will be very valuable for you to have."
I hesitantly take the coin, but I want to make sure, like I don't want to touch the actual coin because of what's going on, or from where we got it. So I just hesitantly grab like a little piece of cloth or something from the kitchen and just grab the coin and wrap it up and tie it up in a little bit, and I'll put it in my sack.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah. Quick question for the three of you there. Would any of you tell Heinrich that he is sick, or would you try to keep that to yourselves?
Braylor has learned his lesson. He will not say anything for now.
I don't know yet. I think I think my character knows that he's sick, but she's never had to break any bad news to anyone, so
Yeah.
she's kind of just in shock still, so kind of processing. So I don't think she'd say anything just yet.
Thorns isn't saying anything. He doesn't want to cause a stir, but as soon as he noticed that the guy was sick, he did pull out a handkerchief and tied it around his snout.
Okay.
And just jury rigging a mask.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, with that, I would say, with all of the hesitation, Portia kind of tearing up, Braylor, I would imagine kind of being a little bit awkward and kind of torn between telling and not telling, kind of just not talking, and with the obvious pulling out of a mask to cover the face, he gets a little bit curious. He looks at all of you and then he asks you, Portia, what is wrong?
Uncle,
We are strange people from a strange land. Do not mind our customs.
Okay, roll a perception check for me.
Come on. Persuasion?
Persuasion. Yeah.
Persuasion.
My bad.
Come on. Do better this time, Braylor. Oh my gosh, 9 total.
9 total. Okay.
Rocking it just like last time.
Just about same.
So he looks at you for a second, stares, kind of just. Yes, strange lands. I'm not familiar with your customs, so that does make some sense. Portia, is this true? Is this all that's going on?
Yes.
Definitely.
No.
Make a persuasion.
Come on, do it.
That was not convincing.
Self action.
Okay, hold on.
You can actually, you can have advantage because he rolled so badly against Braylor that will help you. So you can have advantage on your persuasion.
Persuasion. Hold on. Just so anyone watching, I'm still kind of a noob at this, so I like.
Look around
Okay, thanks. Okay, and then I got 7, so 8.
here. 8. Did you roll advantage? You could roll twice.
Oh, I rolled twice.
Yes.
Okay,
You
great,
roll
great,
twice.
great.
Get the better one.
Okay, 14.
14?
That's better.
Okay, yeah. So he looks at you for a second, blank stare, kind of measures you up and down like he looks at everything. He's a tinkerer, and he always analyzes things staring at them, and you get the feeling like he's definitely analyzing you thoroughly right now, to try to figure out what's going on. And he just looks at you, pauses. Okay, if that is all it is. He doesn't seem completely convinced, but he's not going to dig any further. He's just gonna continue on. He's like, so why have you all come here then, Portia? Who are your new friends? I say.
These are some fellow travelers that have been traveling.
For a long time, yeah, traveling.
You know,
across the land.
I'm just gonna tell him this crazy woman abducted me pretty much, and then she told me that she needed help with something, and then she told us that there was an issue or something, and these guys are here, and I brought them into town. Pretty much.
Strange circumstances. It's a pleasure to meet both of you. I have not introduced myself. My name is Heinrich Harris. I am Portia's uncle. I've been raising her most of her life. It's nice to meet you. Who might you be? How do you know my Portia?
Like she said, we met about 20 minutes ago. But my name is Braylor the Wall. You can call me. Or just Braylor. Or
Okay.
Wall.
Wall.
I will say right now that at this point, I'm so sorry. I'm not good at like saying, but my Portia is just so sad, and she's like, you can see her eyes start to swell up, and they're very red, and they start getting a little puffy. There's no weeping or anything yet, but just like super red and super stressed out. And she's trying to hide her face from her uncle.
Okay. Then he is currently distracted with the 8-foot man. and then he looks to the cat man who's walked in as well, and you, same story with them. You just showed up
He
and
can't talk.
wandered.
Tolthorn starts trying to talk, but then remembers that he's tied his mouth shut, so he hurries and undoes that, looks over at the now weeping woman, or almost weeping woman, and he's a little bit worried that she also is kind of sick, so he decides to chance it. Yes, my name is 12 Thorns. I'm also with this wonderful pair of totally normal individuals. Have we met?
Us? No, I've never seen you before. There aren't many Tabaxi that come up this way. I know of you from your kind from stories of the Savalier Woodnoma. Nothing more.
In any case, I'm sorry for all of the nastiness going around your village. I hope that we can do something about it before it befalls anyone else. And he's pointedly trying not to make eye contact.
Nastiness? I'm not sure I know what you're talking about.
Okay, well, Portia at this point there's tears, and you hear this little weeping noise of.
Are you staying in the room?
Yeah, I'm gonna stay in
Okay.
the room because I'm just kind of solid stiff. I don't know what I cannot touch and what not touch, and so she's just kind of.
Okay. With that, he is definitely going to dig further with the cat man that he just met. Still doesn't know names, telling him that there's something happening in the village and they hope they can solve it before it gets further. Makes him a little bit worried, and then Portia starts crying. He's on to you guys.
Braylor's just gonna hold like the bridge of his nose and just into his hands. This is not going the way he wanted it to.
Yeah. So he'll look directly at, well, not instantly. He'll probably stare at you for a while, 12 Thorns. Look back at Braylor with his hand on his nose, and then stare straight into Portia's puffy red, tear-filled eyes, and just stern look. Portia, tell me what's going on.
Uncle, you're sick. You're sick. You have the same thing that Ergon had, or whatever. I can't even talk right now. Or I'm just
You're just
I'm
bawling.
just so sad.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So the second you say that he's sick with what Ergon has, he knows what Ergon had. He knows, he heard what's been going on, and he'll ask you all to leave. He doesn't want you to be around him anymore when that happened, for your own safety. So he'll kind of usher you out politely, staying a good distance from each of you just in case. He'll stand back and kind of just, you all should not be here. You know where the door is, please leave.
Uncle, I can't leave you here by yourself and have you die.
He'll cut you off and just leave, Portia. I can't have you get sick too. If this is something that I can spread to you, I cannot have it happen. And your traveling friends, I would never be able to forgive myself in the afterlife if they catch what I have as well. And then he just tells you guys to leave and walks back into a back room where his tinkering workshop is. You would know that, Portia.
Yes.
Well,
this is going great.
Oh my gosh, this is the worst. So sad.
Let's go investigate that man's cabin. I think we can meet up with our bear friend.
Okay. Yeah.
As Tolthorn and Braylor pretty much said the same thing. As soon as they both finished saying it,
At the
Tolthorn
same
looks
time.
over and smiles at him and is like pointing between them like connection.
Yes,
Perfect.
little one.
Yeah, I think at this point, Portia's trying to pull herself together, and she feels really determined to figure out what's going on and what she can do to heal her uncle. So.
Okay. So you guys all head off
As we
towards.
walk over,
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and talk to Portia and be like, "We will find a cure for your uncle,
Okay.
or I will die trying." And then he's just gonna keep walking.
Oh man, I really hope you're not failing this one.
Okay. So you guys can.
I would also also like to help cure him, but I might take wounding. I don't know if I'd go so far. With that.
Well, that is alright. I do not expect you to die in the face of protecting. But that was the oath I took when leaving my home, and so far I've done none of that.
Yeah, somberly.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys make your way that way. You didn't get good directions from Elro, but anyone would talk to any of you guys. They see Goliaths frequently, Tabaxi on and off, and then they all know Portia, so they could tell you where Urgon's cabin is. Portia, you might know where it is.
I know where it is.
So you guys are gonna head that way. At this time, Teagle, you have definitely finished your first, if not second and third. I don't know if you would go that far or not, but
He's a little man. He can't handle his alcohol.
okay. So maybe half a pint.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've gotten that all finished, and you are in a bar, in a tavern. My bad, tavern. Just studying everyone. People have left. People have come in. There have been a couple more instances where the not so jolly owner of the Jolly Dwarf Tavern has had to throw some people out. Just bums coming in to ask for food and stuff. He doesn't really like them very much, so he's thrown them out a couple times. You've watched it. People have always the same mood, the somber. The sailors still kind of maybe slowing down a little bit in the corner. Not much else going on.
Well, I think at this point, since Teagle's probably a little bit
Yeah.
overbuzzed, he's gonna be like, all right. He's gonna slam his mug down. He's gonna walk over to this group of like sailors. And he's gonna go up and be like, "Do you guys know about the disease in this town, or not?"
So, you approach the group. First, they all go a little bit quiet when they hear you at first, staring at you. All the lackeys, you would say, standing on the outside, kind of just bar your way, gruff looks, kind of just like glaring at you, wondering why is this guy interrupting our meeting. One of them probably gets nervous and says, "Why don't you just scully on out of here, eh?" And kind of puts his back between you and the rest of the group. And they are very cold towards letting you be in there.
I think I still have my cross stick.
Yes, you do.
You're gonna pull that out and stick it right on the guy that just showed it down.
Oh, okay. So he jumps out.
I am furious.
Yeah, he jumps a bit with that little jolt. Lets out a little screech you wouldn't expect to come from a hardened sailor, and
You gotta hear the screech.
lets out a little kind of little, and then he kind of like clears his throat. I mean, what do you think you're doing? Huh? I told you to get out of here. And he reaches for a cutlass on the table and just starts towards you. But then you hear in the background, man's voice. Well, now, I don't think we want to be too hard on these newcomers. Come on through. Let him talk to me. And the guy stares at you. He is really upset at you. Like he's got murder in his eyes almost, and he stands there, hesitates, and then sets the cutlass back down and moves out of your way. Well, you're lucky the captain wants to talk to you.
I'll just like kind of ignore him and just walk straight past.
Okay. So yeah, you walk over, and yeah, you see the same guy as before. He has a huge hat. He's like, if you can think of a pirate captain, he's a pirate captain. He's got a huge hat, big old feather in it, if not 3 or 4. He's got badges all over it, sorts of seashells and stuff. He's an elven man, long, kind of teal hair going down far behind his back, and then just a buccaneer's mustache and goatee, like you would expect on a standard buccaneer.
I'm
And yeah,
gonna make a personal request that you get that man's hat because we need it. It is vital for all.
Yes.
and yeah, he sees her approaching and he says, "Yes, you. What about this disease that you were talking of?"
So, most of the people here, as you can see, are a little, on the sad/shy end, right?
Yes. There's been a death.
Yeah.
There has been a death. Their death is because of a disease that I am here to help stop.
He stares at you for a second. Just trying to. He looks you up and down. A disease, you say? What sort of disease might it be?
As far as I know, this disease starts to affect you and you start to slow down until you fully freeze. Have you guys heard of this along any of your other travels?
There's nothing that we've heard like this. Nothing that would cause a man to freeze solid.
Are they lying?
It's strange. It's not something that I've seen in any of my travels now. Do you know anything about how it affects people, how it is transmitted between one host and the other?
I do not. And that's why I'm here. I'm looking around for any kind of leads, anything that might help me figure this out. And I
You see.
feel as sailors, you guys might be able to hear some of the rumors or gossip around the areas that you're at.
He would just look at you, shake his head. No, we don't. We haven't heard much. We take port in this town far and few between. We don't make port here very often. But if you hear anything about how it is transmitted or any other news on this, I would love to know. One piece of information I may have for you. We were at Pelk's here in town, kind of restocking some supplies for our boat, and she did seem slightly off when she was gathering our things. We've been here many times and she's generally quite quick to get what we need, but this time it was strange. She was moving quite slowly. I had a couple of complaints from the crew members when I began yelling at them for getting back so slow that they told me that it was her fault. So you may want to check out her, see if she's alright, but that's all that I've heard about it.
Thank you. That is very helpful.
Yes, I do
would
expect
suggest you
help in
guys-
return. If you hear anything, come to me and tell me. I need to know these things.
And in the meantime, you guys should probably avoid some of the locals for a little while.
Oh yes, I believe we're going to be spending most of the rest of our time here on our boat. And then he looks at the crew, tells them all to get up, and they start headed out.
Hey, before you go,
Yes.
how much for your hat?
He chuckles. This is not for sale, young gnome. And he calls you young, knowing that you look kind of old. He still believes you to be fairly young. And continues, this hat has been with me for well longer than any quantity of coin would be able to separate us. And then he keeps walking.
Rocket. I'm getting that hat.
Can I try and see if I happen to know what kind of person he is or thing that he is?
What? So you would recognize him as an elf, an elven man.
That's right. Yeah,
yeah.
that's right.
So you would know that
Okay.
he could easily be older than you without really showing it. So
Alright, well, if they're taking off, then I think I'll probably take off as well and head for, what is it, Picadello's?
Pucks, yes, Picadellos.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, you head out the tavern, and you would probably. That's trying to do timing stuff, but you'd probably, as you head towards Pelks, it's on the other side of town, you would probably cross paths with the remainder of the party. I don't know how long you would be drinking for after. How long does it take for you to get through half a pint?
Knowing him, it'd probably take maybe a half an hour just for half a pint.
Yeah. Yeah, so you guys are probably running into it. You're probably crossing the square heading in the other direction, and then they would probably see you from down the road a little bit heading that way.
Small thing. Looking out here, did you fail to obtain a hat? What's going on?
Okay, here's the thing. I offered him money, okay? I offered him money.
Braylor's gonna offer his shoulders again if like he kind of is indicating that he wants to talk with Teagle a little bit.
I think Teagle will be like, you know what, I'm good. Are we heading in the same direction?
No, you'd be heading. So they would be heading. If you come out of the tavern, they are probably heading more east, and you are probably heading kind of a northwest-ish. So you're almost going opposite directions.
Teagle would just say to Baylor. Yeah, I would accept, but I am gonna go see this one lead that I happen to find.
Cool. Braylor's gonna nod, and then he's just gonna say, the coin is in Portia's hands now. I haven't told her exactly what it does, but just so you know.
I think Teagle's gonna look over at Portia and kind of like examine her up and down, kind of like her uncle did.
Yeah. The Tinkerer's stare.
And then kind of just nod at Baylor and be like, "Good choice."
Yeah.
And then he's gonna walk off.
What the heck?
Okay. So yeah, you guys are separating again. Almost heading in opposite directions. Any changes to the party here, or do you all want to go your separate ways?
Right now I'm still kind of, sad, but washing off tears and sniffling away, and so,
Okay.
and I look up and I'm kind of following just the Goliath because he's kind of the easiest thing to see. Out of my
Yeah.
puffed up eyes, and that's all pretty much I'm focusing. I'm just gonna keep following and try to get to I might hit in or stumble on Teagle a little bit because I might not be able to see him as I walk around. But I want to head out the same direction I was heading, whichever way
Okay.
the
Towards
Goliath is.
Erdonis.
Baylor's going.
Got it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does Braylor see anything on the way to the cabin?
On the way to the cabin, not really. There's just people walking around. Not much going on in the city. Most people probably went back to their homes or a little bit early. It's probably getting pretty close to evening now, though.
About 30 seconds after we part with Teagle, 12 Thorns is going to stop and look back and kind of think for a minute. And I'm going to go with the even smaller one. I feel like he might need the help.
Okay.
Good choice.
Think back,
We will meet back.
Okay.
And then I just take off trying to catch up to Teagle.
Okay. Yeah, so...
I'm really slow. It's not that hard.
Nothing...
And, once I do catch up with him,
Yeah.
since I am a cat man, I'm going to kind of ignore the fact that I ran to get over here, kind of pretend that it's just a coincidence that I'm going along. I'm just doing my thing. You're just along for the ride too, so I wasn't
Nice.
chasing after you or anything.
Eagle's just kind of giving you a side glance. And he kind of just shrugs and keeps going.
Okay. So you guys make your way to Puck's Curiosities. It's probably like This one's a 2-story cabin, a bit more fancy in design than the rest of them. And then it's got a really ornate sign hanging out the front of it. It's a dragon, kind of curling around the outside of the sign above a sword. And right underneath it says Pelks. That's it. And as you enter, you hear light shuffling, and a woman yell out, "I'll just be a second." And then you see her shuffle around the corner. And yeah, this lady, she's got veins bulging up her arms, her neck, onto her face, and it's just a vibrant blue you've never seen before. And then we're gonna jump over to the other half of the party while we wait for her to shuffle over the front of the counter. You guys don't really have anything going on your way to the cabin either. After a little bit, you get there. Coog, you probably had a good hour there by yourself. Is there anything else you wanted to look around, like specific spots of the cabin before they got there?
You talking to me? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I missed you.
Yeah. Would there be any, you had like an hour there by yourself, so is there any spots you want to be looking around, any more specific locations you want to search a bit more thoroughly, or do you want to just do another check around the entire thing?
No, I would probably spend about a half hour in the cabin itself. So.
Oh, okay.
Is it just like one big room, kind of like a studio? Or
Yeah.
Is it like there's a kitchen, there's a bedroom there?
No, one big room. There's probably like a small half divider towards the back, just to kind of cover where his bed would be, but that's
I
about
gotcha.
it.
So I didn't find anything else in the cabin with my investigation check and everything.
Yeah, so if you have another like 30 minutes looking around, you could probably find a couple more smaller items. You would probably pick up a little bit more on some tracks, wet footprints around some windows that you would have seen were broken. The latches were broken off of in, and you'd see some wet footprints on some of the papers lying around.
What do those footprints, like, is there any chance they still look wet, or are they're clearly dried? Or...
They're fairly dry by now, but it's definitely they've stepped on it. There's some muddy footprints there.
So they're fairly dry by now.
Yes.
So I'm assuming this is probably within the last hour.
Yeah.
Because if it's cold here, things aren't going to dry out that fast. But
yeah.
So yeah, after that half hour, I would have gone back to that mark that I made on the ground and followed those tracks.
Okay. So.
I'm going to definitely do this stealthily.
Okay.
I am a trained bounty hunter, so I know that you need to be careful in situations like this, and I do have nature's +1. My stealth is +2, so.
Okay. Yeah. So you have no problem finding the mark you made. You know exactly what it is. Head out through the woods, making sure not to step on any loose branches or anything. Really stealthy like. But as you start, the woman who said she'd keep an eye on you definitely kept an eye on you. She yells out, "Where are you going?"
Where is she at now compared to me in the cabin?
She's probably still towards the front. She'd like just walk around to the side and just like look around the corner, just staring at you walking off into the woods. You could probably see like half of her body sticking out around the corner of the cabin.
Alright, so that happened, so now I'm going to go straight up to her and be like, yeah, just investigated the whole area here, and now I'm on this one set of footprints that's obviously didn't come back, so I want to see where that goes and who it is.
Okay. I cannot stop you. If you find anything, please let me know, or just go straight to Elro. We would be very interested to figure out what is going on. I noticed those footprints myself, but I do not feel comfortable walking out into the woods by myself. I'm not the most well trained. But if you are willing,
I'm gonna ask her, okay, you wouldn't do this, so what do you suggest then?
I'm just gonna stay guarding here.
Hey,
If
why are you keeping track of me and nobody else?
well, there's no one else around.
Is this the point where we start walking up to the cabin?
If Coog was only looking for 30 minutes, he would have had an hour there by himself, so
Yeah.
it would have been a while still.
Okay.
She would say that if you are walking out of the woods and you insist on it, that she would accompany you. But she definitely wouldn't go by herself.
I'd like to ask her, like, what does she suggest doing? Would she want to wait here, or should we continue off and see what else we can do?
Me, I'm not an investigator myself, but if you are leaving, I will follow you if you want to search that way, just to make sure nothing bad happens to you. But I would prefer it if I can just stand guard. You can do as you please. I will follow you. Basically, she's just waiting. If you leave, she'll follow you if you invite her. If you want to leave by yourself, you can tell her.
Gotcha. I'm gonna ask her when she got here.
I have been here most of the day.
Most of the day.
Yes.
Right? I
It's-
did not notice you when I got here, so you're a good hider.
Oh, so this is the lady that talked to you right at the beginning.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the lady that. So this is the guard.
Yes, this is the guard. Sorry, yeah.
I thought you were saying that this was the lady that brought us here.
Oh no.
Oh.
No, yeah, this is the
Got-
guard that was standing that kind of talked to you at the very beginning. She's
Sorry for the confusion. My mistake. So I said, yeah, you just stay here. I'm gonna follow these tracks for a few minutes and see if I find anything. So I'm gonna continue off, remaining stealthy, see if I find anybody at the end of these tracks or where they might lead.
okay. Yeah. So you'd hear off in the distance. She's yelling up to you. Okay, so just come back if you find anything. And just kind of, she goes back to watching the hut. She might stand there. If you look back, she's kind of staring at you a little bit more as you're watching, but not a ton. And then yeah, so you've got like a good 30-40 minutes. You're trekking through mountains. You're trekking through snow. It's kind of leading. It would be almost parallel to the town. So you're going now. He's up east. You're probably going north. You're probably going north parallel to the town. 40 minutes, and you get to a
This guy's cabin was east of or west of the town, correct?
east,
Now
I think. Wait. Oh no, you'd be heading south. My bad. He's east and you're heading south. So
Okay, so everyone is headed to the cabin. I'm
Yeah.
headed from my west side, and I'm headed south now.
yeah, and it takes about 40 minutes, 50 minutes ish, and you come out into a clearing, a bit deeper into the woods than the last cabin you're at, but it is similar in design. This one though is lit like Christmas. You're probably getting there. It's closer to evening. The sun's starting to go down, and this thing is just glowing with light. There's a huge thing of smoke coming out of the chimney. The snow around it is even starting to melt because of heat that's coming out of it.
Is this thing on fire?
No, it's not on fire. It's just got a lot of heat on the inside.
So at this point, with what my character would know, Boog is thinking somebody in that cabin is sick and they're trying to keep themselves alive.
Yeah.
And so they might have been sick for a while. Oh, he's What's on the ground? Is it snow or is it mud or is it?
It's snow. Everything. It's thick layer of snow. The snow around the cabin, like the windows and the door, that's where some of the snow's starting to melt away. But everywhere else, it's just thick snow.
Kind of debating whether I should sneak up and calm it or if I should just go knock on the door. I'm just gonna go knock on the door.
Okay. Yeah, no answer.
No answer at all? Nothing? I'm
No.
gonna peek in a window.
You probably hear some shuffling, but it doesn't sound like human shuffling. It's like paws.
Pause? Okay.
Yeah.
I definitely want to check a window.
Okay. All the windows are shuttered and locked.
Um, the whole rest of the group, I can't even say. I shouldn't even metagame like that, but I'm just gonna head back.
You're gonna head back?
I'll just head back. I'll make good time. I'm not gonna bother being quiet this time. I'm get back.
Okay. Yeah. So as you're just wandering around the outside of the cabin, you just hear that same shuffling, kind of just an animal. It's definitely sounds like paws. You know what paws are? You have paws, so you kind of know that that's what it sounds like. As you wander away.
Sound like.
Yeah. So those paws, they kind of just, as you're wandering around the cabin, though, they do kind of just follow you a little bit, and then you find all the windows locked, the doors locked. No one wants to answer when you knock on the door the first time, and you can start headed back. If you guys at this point, when you get back, now Baylor and Portia, you guys would have had a good 30 minutes. You'd probably have a good 30, 40 minutes there by yourselves too, if you wanted to get there. So when you guys get there, the guard, once again, more adventures, I presume.
Some have called me that before. Not very used to the term now, but
Who are we talking to?
The guard outside of Ergon's cabin.
Is it a man or a woman?
A woman.
Do I know her?
You would have seen her around. She's one of the glass knives, part of the guards of the town.
Okay.
You probably don't know her by name. They generally stick to themselves pretty much. Not super friendly, but
Okay, and okay, so okay, sorry, I have to think of what Portia would say. Guard, what are you doing here?
I'm guarding.
Well, yeah, but
Obviously, this cabin. Elro asked me to watch it, and make sure that no one tampers with anything while we wait for a proper investigation to be done by adventurers. Your friend who showed up earlier, the bear, gave me a real fright, him, and now you two, I assume, are part of that same crew.
We are. Is he still here?
He is not. He wandered off into the woods. I don't know what he was doing.
Woods?
He followed some tracks at the back. They led off, and I offered to go with him, but he was adamant.
Okay, well, I think that's strange, and that he went off in the woods, but I assume it's because, maybe he just needed to go. So, I ask if we can enter the cabin. Can we enter the cabin?
Yes. The bear spent a good 30 minutes looking around. He seemed to not find much, but you are free to search if you would like. The only command I had was to make sure that you don't wreck anything, but there isn't much to wreck in there. I've seen it already, and it's a mess. But yeah, she'll stand out of the way and let you guys go in if you want to.
Brylor's gonna stay outside with her for now.
Okay.
He wants to talk to her. Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry.
no, go ahead. Okay.
Okay. So Braylor, he's just going to try and ask her like how long she's been like working with the town leader, like trying to talk to her first before he starts asking her questions.
Okay. Yeah, so she doesn't open up too much. She's not that type of person, but she'll just kind of answer your questions with just one word answers. Like you say, how long have you been working with us? She'd just say 2 years. You ask her anything about her day, she's just good. I'm fine. Kind of cold. Not much to say. Just kind of like someone who's been standing around for half a day at a cabin with nothing else going on. She's a little bit upset, but.
Braylor he's gonna say, I've been training for most of my life to recognize sickness and to try and do my best to heal it. This seems to be something more arcane in origin than a natural sickness. None of my remedies have worked. Is there any information you have on that front?
Ooh.
The source.
With that, she would get a little curious for a second there, and then she would wonder, are there more people who are sick? Last I heard it was only Ergon. Did you try casting stuff from a dead man? Or is this spreading?
He's just gonna go silent and not really answer her, and he's like, I have done my work. I have recognized that this is a sickness not isolated. But that is as far as I can tell for now.
Okay, with that, she just gets upset again. Great. I don't get paid anything to just work here standing guarding, and now I gotta worry about getting this thing that he had too. She gets real upset.
As
kind
long,
of just.
Braylor's gonna try and calm her down. He's gonna bring out like a piece of like jerky or something that he's been carrying around. And he's like, you probably are hungry standing out here in the cold all day. Take this.
You ever have a Snickers bar?
She'll take it.
Braylor is gonna be podcast's favorite character. Everyone's gonna love it.
She takes it, but she doesn't eat it. She kind of pockets it, and she's like, I've got my rations, and I've been standing here all day, but not anymore. And she just kind of walks off. I got a word or two for Elro when I get back to town. And she starts wandering off towards the town.
Oh my
So
goodness.
you're saying you haven't heard anything is what I get from that.
Not till now. And she just keeps walking.
Great. This is good.
If anyone else shows up while you're here, make sure that they don't ruin anything. I've got to go speak to Elro. And then wanders. She's now left. And you guys are left alone.
I look at Baylor and I kind of roll my eyes at him, and I'm like, we're not in a good spot here. I say we take a quick look inside this cabin and then go find Kook.
Kook. Yes.
Good.
Sorry, I barely know him.
Okay. So you guys have anything specific in the cabin? Same thing when you walk in, it's just torn to pieces. Everything's thrown around the room. And there's...
Braylor spent a lot of time around like animals, especially mountain animals.
Yeah.
Would he recognize any, like, if this was like a human thing or if it was a beast?
Yeah. So with that, I'll have you roll nature just in case. Low DC, obviously, because you have had experience. But you know, maybe you're upset about all the things that have happened since you got here. So.
Any chance I could do survival instead of nature?
Or
is that stretching it too far?
That's a little too far. I'd say it's definitely nature, looking for the animal.
Okay. Come on. 14?
Okay, yeah. So yeah, you're looking around. You don't see any claw marks. There isn't any scuffs on the floor from what would be animals running around. and it seems like there was deliberate destruction in certain parts, like bookshelves and chests. Someone was there. Someone was looking for something.
He's Braylo's gonna relate that to Portia.
Okay.
Okay. So now I know.
Yes.
Okay. Then. And then I'm gonna look around as well and see if I notice anything. Have I been in this house before?
No, you've probably not been to Ergon's. He keeps pretty much to himself. Doesn't really invite anyone over.
Okay. Do I notice I noticed there's a mess?
Yes, definitely notice there's a mess. Everything's torn apart.
Right. Do I see anything of importance? Can I run an investigation check?
Yeah, roll investigation.
Okay.
As she's doing that,
Yeah.
Braylo's gonna say,
9.
this was obviously done by knowing hands. Someone was looking for something. This makes me think the sickness is caused by an artifact or something that was in his possession.
Okay. You don't find anything, Portia. You look around, shuffle through papers, flip over some beds, nothing.
I flip over a bed.
Well, yeah, it's broken.
Alright. Okay, so, Braylor, I believe we should go and find our bear friend.
Yes. He
Okay.
may know something we do not.
Okay. So you guys are gonna walk out, look around for tracks and stuff.
Yeah, I'm also kind of worried. So I'm talking to Baylor. I'm also kind of concerned of our little friends. Our kitty and
Yes.
our little buddy.
Yes. I trust the gnome.
The
To do
kitten
what
and the
needs
little
to be
buddy.
That's what they are. Okay.
Awesome.
They
Okay.
say, they think they're okay. So yeah. Okay. And so how can we find? We need to track the bear down.
Yes, so you guys can both roll. For this, you can do survival. I'd say looking for footprints counts as something survival. So, Amy, you can roll a nature or survival check as well.
Okay.
15.
Okay?
Is it this one?
Yeah, so you can,
Come on.
you go on out, and yeah, they're not too hard to find. You find some tracks. You see tracks all over the place, but there's one set of tracks that you notice a strange mark next to. That isn't, definitely not made by animals. It was something deliberately put there as well. And you would assume those would be the tracks you want to follow.
Okay.
Yes.
So yeah.
I think he found something.
So if you guys head that way, you guys would probably be in the cabin for like 15 minutes maybe. So
Yeah.
you probably got 20 minutes and 30 minutes, and then you guys run into each other halfway down the path.
Okay, should I run?
If you're running, less time than that.
Dang it.
15 minutes max.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I was making good time back. I could have cut the time in half. But
Okay.
Still.
so you'd be running too. If you're running as well, not stealthing like you did to get there, then you would probably get back to the cabin about the same time they're leaving to get to you. So you're not too far from the cabin when you run into them.
What is it that you found, friend?
So I followed these tracks because they were the only ones that didn't seem to lead back to the cabin. But about half hour's walk up this way, there's another cabin that seems to be on fire, but it's not burning.
What?
Yeah.
A fire?
It is hot all around the cabin. It is so hot, it's melted the snow all around it. I knocked on the door, and nothing nobody answered, but there was a scurry of like animal paws. My assumption is somebody in this cabin has this sickness and is trying to stay warm.
I think they may have been looking for something in this house and found it.
Okay, so what do we know? Do we go to the cabin or do we go find I don't know where they went. Where did they go? Because I was so upset.
I
And
don't know
so,
if you asked them or not.
They went to an antique shop.
Pretty much.
do we want to go to the antique shop or should we go and stop this cabin that's on fire? Is it actually on fire?
It wasn't burning. Like I said, it wasn't burning, but
Okay.
it was hot. Like, somebody's cooking in there.
Do you
And it's
think they're
hot.
still alive?
But here at this cabin, though, I did find a receipt for things from a place called Pelk's Curiosities. I was wondering, you guys wanted to go investigate there and ask the owner if they knew anything about our recently deceased.
I say we go and find. I'm concerned about whoever's in that cabin. I don't know who might be
Yes.
in there, and I'm worried that it's someone I might know.
I would think, now that I'm thinking about it, Elro did mention the one other person that he knew probably had this disease was Tolgi, Lutan. She generally keeps and lives far from the town, keeps to herself, doesn't talk to a lot of people. So I would think at this point, you probably would have recognized it at that point. It might have crossed your mind.
If I tell her specifically, like, hey, this is the direction I traveled, this is where it would be compared to us in the town, she would know that that's them.
So she would know that they live. That's way further out than most people would live from town. So it would make sense to all you guys if you talked about it for a little bit. You'd all probably come to realize this is probably that lady that Elro was talking about.
We may yet be able to save another life. Let's hurry, Buck. And Brayler's gonna start going towards the other cabin.
Okay. So yeah, you guys can start heading that way. We'll jump back over to the kitten and the small person. Is what is as we've had someone describe him as so lovingly in this show.
I want to live.
No, yeah. So yeah, you guys, when you're in the shop, she comes around the corner. She is just these vibrant blue bulging veins everywhere, arms, legs, neck. They're starting to inch towards even her eyes and such, and she is like inching along. Since you've entered the shop, you can walk around, and she's still not even made it close to the front counter.
Oh my goodness, it's so sad.
She is real bad.
Alright, well, Eagle probably will just straight up go to her because even he can walk faster than his
Yeah.
buddy, and that's something new for him, you know? So, he's going to go up and he's going to be like, excuse me, ma'am. My name is Teagle, and this is, this is my friend, and, we're here because we happen to notice that you're getting a little blue.
Yes, I believe there's something wrong. And she's definitely like, even the way she's talking, it's slow, she can barely get out her words almost. And she just seems real worried. When you mention that, it's like hits her, she's like, this is bad.
Did you know of the man that recently passed?
I did. At this point, she's like, things are starting to break up. She's not saying everything. You get like ideas now. She's trying to like kind of just get out things as fast as she can.
Oh my gosh, she's gonna die.
She's just, yes, bought things, and that's about it. And then she's just still trying to wander to the front of the store, but not very quickly.
I think Teagle's gonna kind of glance over at 12 Thorns at this point and see if he decides to do anything.
Thorns is looking like he really does not want to be here. He doesn't want to catch what she's got, but he also feels really bad. So he's gonna go over and like put his arm around her, like try to lead her to a chair somewhere.
Oh my goodness.
It's all right. Let's sit down and we can talk some more.
Okay, so yeah, the way you've led people places before, kind heart. You've helped people get places who aren't kind of people, and it's usually like here, I'll take your weight. We can walk normal speed. But with her, you like almost fall over when you like get her arm up on your shoulder. You start trying to walk, and it's not like she can't physically move. It's like her her limbs are locking up. They're like, it is impossible for her to move faster than that. Even with you trying to pull her along, you're still moving an inch every 30 seconds or so. It's real slow.
You don't have to hurry up. We can go at your own pace. We can pull out a cloak and kind of put it around her shoulders. He warms up a bit.
Yeah. And she's with that, with you touching, like actually being next to her and feeling her, you can feel that she is shaking quite a bit. The cloak, she thanks you with just a soft, like, but not much comes out. She's trying to talk, but not much is coming out. And she keeps trying to wander over the direction you were pulling her previously towards a bench.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep walking with her and then look over at Teagle. Why are we here again? I just wanted to get away from the crying woman. What's going on here?
I believe this woman knows a little bit more about our problem, or at least something else that gives us a clue of what's going on.
Trollfarn looks at the woman and then back. I think we should ask quickly. I doubt we're going to have much time for interrogation.
I agree. Teagle's gonna walk back up and be like, you said this man bought things. Can you tell us what, or show us, or point at it, or just allude to it? Anything.
With that, she would slur out the words, him? No. I bought. And then she would kind of like start turning her head towards the front. She's an unintelligent woman, you can gather slightly from the way she does this. She starts turning her head towards the front of where she was walking before, to the front desk. But while her head's turning that way, her shoulders start to barely creep towards where she came from originally, which seems very strange to the both of you, as most people look with their head and shoulders, or just their head. So, and then she just says, there, and that's it.
I think I'm frozen.
No, she's not. She's not quite frozen. She seems very close.
Call over 12 Thorns to her and kind of just talk quietly, and just be like, so I'm getting some mixed signals here. What do you think's happening?
Well, like I said before, I don't know why we're here. If he bought something here, or if she bought something from him, I don't know what's going on either. I'm just kind of not having a good time.
All right.
I think I need to go and wash off because I'm worried that she breathed on me too much.
Alright, I think I saw a bathroom around side. So, you go wash off, and when you're done with that, you can come back and actually help.
Hawthorne looks kind of embarrassed. Well, it was mostly just a complaint because that's all it can think to do. No, I'll stay. We'll figure this out.
Here, do me a favor.
Yes.
You go check the front desk to see if there's anything different or weird, and I will go check the back where she came from.
I'm on it. Hawthorne looks very relieved to have someone else coming up with a plan. He is not comfortable planning things. So I'm going to head over to the front desk and see if I can find like a ledger or any sort of documents or anything.
Yeah, so you get to the front desk, and you start looking around and I'll have you roll a quick investigation. Probably not gonna be too difficult, but just because you are looking for it, and it's definitely not going to be out in the open where you can find it. So
18.
oh yeah, so yeah, you take a second, you shuffle around some items on the top of the desk, then realize they probably wouldn't keep a ledger here of things they purchased. And you look underneath the desk and you start shuffling through some papers, and you do find a list that lists things that she sold and one that lists things that she's purchased. The purchase doesn't have much on it. She probably bought something today, just maybe some strange knives and stuff that someone brought in, but then she does have listed ergon, and she has listed on it a strange vial, ornate dagger, trinkets from Eiselcross.
I look at those things and picturing in my head what nefarious deeds one might do with a mysterious vial and a dagger. And Eagle, I found something. I swear this place is cursed. I'm not good for anything really.
Where?
Eagle
Yeah.
walk over. Like, he probably didn't fully get to the back. I don't know, is there like a door or something that was kind of in his way?
It would have just been like a curtain.
Ow.
She wouldn't have had a door up there, just like a kind of curtain that's hanging in the middle. Kind of fancy design on the fabric.
And maybe he would just barely pass something like that, so he just kind of like peeks back over. And then he sees that he's holding something, so he'll probably start walking back a little bit.
Okay.
He bought a strange dagger, a vial of something or other, and some trinkets from what was the place called?
Eiselcross.
From Idle Crawford. You're a gnome. Do you know anything about trinkets? I don't need to profile, but I mean.
Well, you know, I would have to see it first before I can give you an answer.
Fair enough. I hand the book over.
So, could I start walking back toward the back to see if I can find these specific items that are listed?
Yeah. It's not too hard to spot them. The ornate dagger she had, like, probably sitting up on the table, one of the main display items that she wants to get sold. It's a fairly nice looking dagger, jeweled hilt. Looks pretty sharp. If you test it out, it can easily pass the paper test that they do with knives. I'm not super big with knives, so I'm 100% sure what that is. But yeah, it's a fairly nice dagger. Trinkets, there's a lot of things that you would consider trinkets lying around, just up in the front. As you get to the back, you open it up and it's just one big room, has her bed in the middle, There's a chest at the base of the bed. There isn't any items lying around. Just a normal room. Wardrobes, chests. Not too much.
Okay, can I do an investigation?
Yeah. Anywhere specific you want to investigate, or just in general throughout the entire room?
Can you give me a rundown of what's in there again?
Yeah, so right through the curtain, right in front of you is her bed. At the foot of the bed is a chest. Off to your left, you have a wardrobe. It's probably double your height as a gnome. And then next to either side of her bed at the top of the room, she has nightstands. Other than that, there isn't much. Maybe a
I
bookshelf
think
too.
I'll start with nightstands then.
Okay.
Quickly.
Yeah, so roll investigation.
Ooh, I got a crit 20 on that, plus 5, so
Nice.
25.
Is that our
Okay.
first net 20 of the campaign? I think that is.
I think so.
Congratulations! You got a golden star.
So, with that, yeah, you walk over, you open up the nightstand, start digging through. You wouldn't see anything you would consider a strange vial. There's some potions that you would recognize, being an artificer. Well, maybe not being an artificer, but there are potions that seem to be like the standard healing potions. There's other random potions that don't seem very strange to you. Also, there is a bag full of gold. That's
say
obviously where she keeps her money for the night. And just a couple of papers that would seem, if you start reading them, to be kind of a journal of sorts. She's written down ideas and thoughts she had throughout the day on it.
Is there any like pieces of paper that kind of tell a little bit about like maybe what she's been going through, or like when she started seeing symptoms or anything like that?
Oh yeah, she kept very detailed notes of that. She probably has the first date that mentions anything about it is probably 3 weeks prior to the date. She mentions Ergon having come in. He seems strange, has small blue veins on his hands, moves with a slight lethargy, and she lists the items again. Then she'd probably go about a week later. She starts noticing that she has the blue veins on her hands, and they're starting to crawl up her forearms.
What did she grab?
She starts feeling
Sorry.
She starts feeling slow around that time, and as the days go by, she can notice daily the veins are inching and growing closer and closer towards her head. They all start hands and feet, and they grow closer and closer to, she would have noted down, her brain, like they're trying to infiltrate and corrupt, is what she would have had in her notes.
So at this point, would I kind of start to piece together that it's probably at least one of the items that was given to her, or she bought from?
Oh yeah, she probably would have noted that in there too. She would think, she would note down, probably, she knows Ergon talks to a lot of people on her way to her, and no one else seems to have this affliction that she has. So she would note down she believes it was from something that she got from him. So you know for sure that at least she believes that it was from one of the items that he gave her.
Okay. I'm gonna call over 12 Thorns again. Be like, hey,
Yes.
I have a feeling that it might be something, or one of these trinkets, or maybe that dagger that could be the cause of something. So if you happen to find anything that might seem like any of these, make sure you keep it from avoid from touching your skin. Try not to touch it for too long, or grab it with some kind of cloth, and we will see what it does.
Alright. I'm gonna go over to the woman and can I check to see if she has like any wounds, like where she might have been cut?
Yeah, so you look towards the woman, and it's clear that she is gone. She has began reaching an arm up, pointing towards the bedroom where she came from, but she is now nothing more than a statue of ice,
Oh, that's so sad.
frozen in the sitting position that you
It's
led
like-
her to.
It's like gone on also.
There isn't much you can glean from the ice. It seems pretty solid, and it's really hard to pick out minute details like that.
After hesitating for a moment and looking really uncomfortable with what he's about to do, I need to go over and see. So is she like pointing? Does he have one finger out pointing?
It's not quite pointing. It's like the fist is kind of uncurling, and her arm is kind of like barely starting to inch its way away from her body towards the room that Teagle walked into.
Okay, I'm going to, wincing and closing my eyes, I'm gonna grab one of the fingers and try and snap it off.
Ooh.
Oh,
Man.
that's gross.
Okay. Roll the strength check.
Man, I did not expect that.
18.
Okay, yeah. So you grab a finger, you start pulling on it, nothing happens. You start kind of hitting it a little bit lightly, not trying to do too much. Nothing happens, and she's not even really shifting too much. It's pretty solid. And as you start knocking on this, you do hear the door open from behind you, and someone walks in and says, "We didn't expect anyone to be here this time of night. Well, this time of day. It's probably getting closer to evening now. The sun's starting to go down. It's getting a little dark." And then with that, we'll jump back real quick over to the other group who is getting to the cabin right now.
Amy.
Oh man.
I've actually never played a split party before. It's interesting.
Yeah, we kind of suck
Yeah.
at staying together.
We'll figure
So
it out.
did we arrive where are we
Yeah,
now?
so all of you guys, Baylor and Portia, you see the cabin for the first time. It is, like Kook said, glowing in the night. Now it's dark. The sun's definitely gone down where you guys are at. It's glowing. You can see light coming out of every single hole, every single split in the wood. There's just light pouring out. And there's a wild plume of smoke pouring from the chimney.
The door knocks. It's like, oh, I'm losing people.
Uh-oh.
I go over. So what do I see? Tell me
Wait,
what I see.
Kook did something. You cut out a little bit there.
Yeah.
I did.
There you go.
So, yeah, I went up to I just closed the stream, is all I did. It
Oh.
was too much bandwidth. I go up to the front door, I knock again, and I wait. If I don't hear anything, I'm going to try and open that door.
Okay, yeah.
If
So
I
you
don't
knock.
hear anyone coming to the door.
You knock. No one answers. Definitely still just the padding of animal paws. They get closer to the door. That's it. No one wants to say anything from inside, if there is someone inside.
I try the door, does it open, or is it locked?
It is locked.
I peek. Oh,
Is there a window?
everybody else go.
There is a window.
Can
They're
I
all
look in?
barred and shuttered. So,
Oh, pardon me, shuddered. I knock on the window.
same. You would hear one set of paws scampering over towards the window. But
We're at the antique shop. Is that right?
no, you guys are at the cabin, which you've now guessed is Tolgi's cabin.
All right. Are we strong enough to break the door down?
You can definitely try to.
I'm trying to hit it, and then I'm
Do
like,
it.
Goog, help me get this door down.
Okay, so if you like kick the door once, you're gonna hear growling from the other side of the door, and a woman's voice, really gruff, slow again. What do you want?
We think this is Tolgi, right?
Yeah.
Are you Tolgi?
What's it to ya?
Are you or are you not?
We are here to help.
You may be in danger. Please open the door.
It's just, I don't need no help.
Lady, you're gonna die.
She wouldn't respond again.
Okay, she's dead.
He's dead.
Dangerously dead.
I'm gonna cast Detect Poisonous Disease, not as a ritual this time. So, use a spell slot to try and detect, see if she is sick.
Does that go through walls?
The spell can penetrate most barriers, but is blocked by 1 foot of stone, 1 inch of common metal, 10 feet of lead, or 3 feet of wood
Okay.
or dirt.
Easy. Then yeah. So you see with this one very bright blue, kind of strange because usually it's just like with the last group, it's just it's there, but this one you do see through the door. There is a bright, vibrant blue aura just straight through the door.
Alright, Brayler's gonna try and knock the door down. And then
Okay. Make an attack.
Style.
Roll.
Alright. Acrobatics or just like strength?
Just roll a d20 for an attack. You're attacking the door.
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh gosh, I rolled a 2.
Whoa. Oops.
You better die.
So, I would say you swing
Him first and then Coop's turn.
with your bow staff. You try to take a quick jab, but you kind of just glance off the door frame where it's a bit too stiff to do any damage. Kind of scratch it a bit.
Our stinking Goliath made a fool of himself.
Yeah. Lee, you are very sick. I can sense it. I
Okay.
may be able to help you.
There's no response again, and Kugi said you want to try
Are
again.
there any gaps? Is there any gaps like around the door frame that I can peek through?
Yeah, there's probably some slits and gaps and stuff you can stare through.
I want to find just like, I'm assuming that this is probably just like a bolt, like a big old handle that locks this door. I just want to find that, and I'm gonna stick my dagger through the door, and I'm just gonna pick it up and see if I can open the door.
Okay. I want you to make a sleight of hand, and then also add your strength modifier.
My strength modifiers. Just a second. My strength modifier is +3. So I'll roll 1d20 with 3.
Roll higher than a 2.
14?
14.
Okay, yeah, so yeah, you look through the door, there's some slits, you do see the beam that is there, you take a dagger out, you jam it through that slit, you saw it, and you just start lifting and wedging it. Eventually, it does fall loose with a loud on the door, on the ground, but you do hear very ferocious growling coming from the other side of the door at this point, and the lady says, "Don't come in here."
Do I know Tolgi at all?
No, you wouldn't have met her.
I wouldn't have met her at all. Interesting. So what is a growling? Do you think it's like a bear or something? Not a bear. Sorry. A wolf.
A bear. Yeah, so you guys would probably recognize it. Most of you who spent your life in the woods, and you would recognize a wolf's growl. It's 2 wolves.
Oh, do I still have animal friendship?
That would be very helpful if you did.
I have animal friendship.
Yes.
I just got really excited, a little overexcited. Alright, I like to cast animal friendship.
Okay.
There you go.
Just like, if I have to, I think it's a line of sight thing.
I think
Or is
so.
it a touch? Okay, I have it.
Let's see.
Animal friendship, 30-foot range.
Alright. We're good. like open the door enough to see if I have to see the wolf, then I'm gonna cast Animal Friendship and roll. D20 is 17.
I think this is on the wolves. They have to save. Can you target multiple, or is it one?
If I only if we cast it as a level 2, and we don't have level 2 spells yet.
Okay. So you can cast it on one of the wolves with the door creaked open a little bit. Once you open the door, the wolves are like, they're not gonna jump on you. They're not even gonna try to jump on the door or anything if you're just bracing it right there. But they are growling. You can see one of them, and you cast Animal Friendship, and the wolf definitely doesn't save against the Wisdom saving throw. So yeah, he kind of like, he just stops barking, kind of starts wagging his tail, looking up at you
A wolf?
expectantly.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I want to have a wolf.
So now I'm just like letting it know, like, we mean absolutely no harm, and anyway,
Unless
I'm
we
still
have
not
to.
happy, but that's fine. If we have to, yeah, we're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At that point,
That's fine.
she would
Should I?
say out again, leave, and then you'd hear, Ira, come. And the wolf that you just did Animal Friendship on looks at you, and then turns around and walks back towards where the voice was coming from.
There's an echo.
And the other one, she yells, Jiro, guard, and he keeps growling and gets right in front of you, and she yells out, if you don't leave, I'll sick him on you. You're muted.
What do you want to do, guys?
I'm gonna head. I don't know what's gonna happen. I think this lady's gonna die, really. So,
Yeah.
can I run a perceptive
Perception?
check?
What are you trying to perceive?
If I see anything in the room that is important to her being sick.
If you look through a crack on the door or something, yeah, you can roll a perception and you can see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Okay, roll perception.
Braylor's gonna raise his shield up and try to advance into the room.
Okay.
I
To give her
got,
more Yeah, to give her more line of sight.
I got a 4.
Yes.
4. Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
So Portia, you look into the room, but kind of like the wolf's in the way, and kind of Baylor and Coog are just kind of like both crowding the door, so it's kind of hard to see. You can't see anything. Baylor, as you push through the door, I need you to make a dexterity saving throw,
Yeah.
and also,
So
yeah,
if it's directed just towards me, since
Yes.
I have the shield master feat, I get to add my shield's AC to my dex saving throw.
okay,
So
you're good.
if it's just going for me, then okay, cool.
Yeah, just for you. And you also hear her yell from the back of the room, sit. Just, she yells out a command to the wolf, and the wolf starts to attack. And I need you all three to roll initiative after we hear Baylor's.
Yeah, I rolled 7 total.
7 total?
Rolling very low. Yeah.
Yeah. So you kind of push through
Dex saving throw.
and with the wolf kind of jumping up on you, you don't notice there are 2 crossbow bolts that come from the left side of the entrance, and you take 6 damage piercing.
Okay.
And then you're kind of just in between the rest of the party, the wolf, and you see in the back of the room, Tolgi sitting on a chair right in front, in between two fires. One, she made a makeshift fire pit in front of an actual hearth that's behind her, and she's just sitting. Same thing, blue veins crawling up her arms, not quite as bad as Pelk was, but veins up to her shoulders, starting to crawl up her neck, and she's slowly trying to get out of her chair and draw 2 daggers from her side. And now, that's 2 hours. That's the session for the night. Sadly, unless you guys really want to keep going, but
Yeah, same.
I'll let you guys decide if you want to. But that's the 2 hours. So
Yeah. I don't think I rolled higher than a 10 that whole time.
yeah, that was a painful session for you and your dice rolls.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Whatever. Because I rolled a 9 total for my initiative as well. So there you go. But
Oh, do you want me to roll my initiative right now or next time?
You can roll now if you want. I'll keep track of them.
Can
Or
I roll now and then next time if I don't like
I
to?
mean,
No.
I'd be fine re-rolling it next session
Yeah.
too.
we'll just roll next session. It's best.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe you can get a little bit better. Bad luck tonight.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I like most nights, so that's
Yeah. And
Yeah.
now it seems like
Do we know how
we've
long
got to
it
do
takes
the
to-
drawing for what?
How long it takes for people to die after they get contaminated?
You
Contagious?
Probably don't. Portia and Baylor and Coog probably do not. Teagle, you, from the journal entries you read, you can probably tell it's, for her, it was probably 3.5 weeks before she died from it. I don't know if you would have told that to 12 Thorns or not, but
Man.
I'll be trying to snap off a lady's finger and walk back into the room.
Yeah. Yeah. Man. Cool stuff.
okay. The last thing we gotta do tonight before we end is the drawing for the guest player, because we will have a guest player. Now, definitely not next time, but should be 2 sessions from now.
In a month, right?
About a month, we'll have our first guest player showing up. Sadly, I did not do the full drawing like I wanted to. I was going to put it up so everyone can see, boom, flashing lights, here's the name, this is who it is. Don't have that. So we're actually just doing a quick pick a number between 1 and 41 from Google, and I have numbers for everyone, and we'll see who gets it.
I got 49.
I'm gonna guess. What's the
Wait,
number one?
no, you aren't guessing, just, it's a pick a random number.
I know, but I'm gonna
Kind of
guess
thing.
what.
Oh, you wanna
number
guess
it
a
is.
number?
Yeah. I'm gonna guess
It's
gonna
1
land
through 41.
on 32.
51.
Does anyone have 51?
31.
31.
31?
Let's do a random number.
I'm
I
doing
said
a random
32,
number
this is
on
31.
generator on Google.
25.
Run and 41. 41. Pick a random number between 1 and 41. Number generator and 18. Which means that our guest player is. Ba-da-ba-ba. Give me a second to get to my notes. Guest player for 2 sessions from now is.
Should we clap? Make sure you count right.
Yeah.
While he's doing that, for our next session,
Gilbert
never
Shearer.
mind.
Nice.
So if Gilbert
That'll
Shearer
be
is
good.
watching, that's awesome, but I don't know if anyone's watching anymore. I will also just contact you guys. I'll contact Gilbert Shearer, talk to him about playing. If he can't play, I will get in contact with the next random number, and we'll go from there. So
Nice.
Gilbert Shearer.
Congratulations. You're gonna be able to join this mess. that
Yeah.
we're making.
And we'll crush your dice rolls for you.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
man.
So next time we start up with a fight for you three, and the other two unknown.
Oh man.
Gonna be a very slow fight.
Yep, and then unknown people entering into Pelk's Curiosities late at night. We'll see what happens there as well. So,
Cool.
see y'all later next time. We got to figure out exactly when we are going to be doing that. Still, I think there's some conflicts of scheduling, so we'll talk about it through Discord now. We're using Discord instead of Facebook because it's better. So,
We'll keep you updated.
Cool.
see y'all next time.
Bye.
Thanks everyone in the future for watching or listening.
Yes.
To this podcast.
Yeah.
Slash video.
I hope it worked this time. We'll see.
We will see. Stop streaming now. Goodbye.